First thing first, I would like to ask a very simple question, and you guys can answer if you guys can unmute yourself, or you can just type in the chat box if you're very shy. So, what do you think? What are games? How would you define a game? Especially the game design students should be answering this really quickly. What are games is basically the very very simple question.
Um,
Games are something that let people interact within themselves, and they can be a catalyst between people and for them to feel emotions, I guess. And yeah, they are fun actually. If that.
Your voice was breaking just a little bit. Can you just like summarize in one sentence again?
Games are like the catalyst which let people feel emotions, whether it is rage, anger, happiness. So it is like a catalyst which lets you be part of different words and let you have a feeling. Yeah.
So basically, Naman is saying games are catalysts for experiencing various emotions. I think there's a few opinions in the chats that something interactive that also entertains you. Someone is saying it's therapy. Someone is saying it's escape from reality. So, first thing to note is like you can see a lot of people are giving a lot of different answers, sort of interconnected but different answers. So, this is going to be important later on, okay? But if I want to summarize it for you, game is, as someone said in the chat also, it was correct. It's a form of entertainment which is interactive, right? If I watch a film, it is entertainment, but it's not interactive. This film is something which is happening to the protagonist, right? The events in the film, they're happening to the protagonist. I am an observer, I'm a third person observer, right? If I'm reading a book, the same thing. I'm reading about someone, I'm the third person, it's happening to a protagonist. But when I'm playing a game, I am the protagonist. I'm not watching it happen to someone, no. I am in first person, right? I am experiencing it. So that is the first shift, the shift from third person to first person. That happens inside of a game firstly, and obviously it is a form of entertainment which is also interactive. You cannot interact with a book, you cannot interact with a film, right? That's a very small, very easy definition of, if someone asks you what is a game, interactive form of entertainment, right? Where you're the protagonist basically, you're in the first person. What classifies as a game in your opinion? Like किसी चीज़ को गेम बनने के लिए क्या चीज़ें उसमें होनी चाहिए? Like what are the elements or what are the things that should be there for something to classify as a game? For example, if I give you a coin, right, and tell you to flip it, and there's two outcomes, heads, tails, win, lose, does that classify as a game? उतनी सिंपल सी चीज़ क्या क्लासीफाई कर सकती है गेम के लिए,
yes,
राइट?
it gives an
You
excitement.
need a win outcome. You need
Okay,
a win or a loss outcome for it to be a game.
so you need
Yes,
a win or a loss outcome for it to be a game. Does everyone agree with that we need a win slash lose outcome for something to be a game?
no, it should be interactive and fun driven. And in the coin game, we have an excitement in one sort of point. That's we need that excitement and fun. We don't need a win or loss situation, I guess, in my mind.
And we do have games which kind of, offer that experiential thing, and there's not necessarily a win or loss outcome attached to it. But yeah, I think interactivity is the most important thing as far as I look at it. And probably that coin thing, I don't know if that can be a game because there's no element of skill involved in it. It's more of a luck thing.
All right,
I
so
mean, there
so
are chance games as well. So it's like a combination of all of these things, right? You primarily need maybe a win-loss condition. You need it to be fun. You need it to be interactive. You need it to have either skill involved or chance involved, right? And it can be socially played. It can be played individually. There are many things that sort of encapsulate a game. So it's harder to define it.
So I think according to me,
Yeah.
I'll say that game should involve a combination of a challenge and a reward for which you are doing that challenge. So irrespective of whether it's skill based or luck based, that is how I see it.
Do we have any more opinions on this? No? Okay, so it is a game. Tossing a coin, even if the outcome is not in your hands, even if the outcome is not in your hands, it is purely luck based. We'll call it a luck based game, but it would still be a game, right? If I give you another example, take the example of snakes and ladders, right? Snakes and ladders is a game, but there's no involvement of any form of skill in that game. You roll a dice, right? You roll a dice. You take the set number of steps forward. Either you get a ladder and go up, or you get a snake and you come down. But there's no control whatsoever, or there's no player decision involved whatsoever. You roll the dice and you move the pawn. There's nothing you can do about it other than the roll of the dice. But you would still call Snakes and Ladder a game, right? Even if there's nothing you can do. You're basically subject to the roll of the die, right? But it is classified as a game. So that is the thing. Even if it is purely 100% luck based, it would still be a game. Something like as simple as flipping a coin could be a game. Something as simple as, so you're doing this by yourself. There's not even a second person or a machine or a computer involved. You're flipping a coin by yourself. You're playing ball. So there's a ball, you don't have another player. Throw the ball on the wall, catch it. Throw the ball on the wall, catch it, right? And if you miss the catch, you lose, right? So as long as there is some fun activity, and the outcome is not certain, you can classify that as a game, right? Now, this uncertain outcome could be skill based, could be luck based, but there needs to be an uncertain outcome based on an activity which is fun for you to perform, right? Fun slash challenging for you to perform. Does that make sense, guys? And then obviously there are games like hide and seek which you can play with a team. There are games like in hide and seek you're playing against the other people, right? If you're playing catch, one person is catching, other people are running, you're playing against the other people. But then there are games like you can say tug of war, where you are cooperating with a bunch of people against another bunch of people which are cooperating, correct? So now we come to the player psychology part. So remember one thing, guys. I am going to keep this a little bit dense, even if some people might be here just to learn a little bit about board game design. I'm going to take this very seriously. I'm going to pretend that everyone here wants to make a serious career in game design. So if at any point you feel like, okay, this is getting too much or too in depth, let me know, because I don't know. Okay. So, what makes a game fun? What makes a game fun, if I have to ask you that? Uh, the three G2M students will not answer because I'm sure you already know the four psychology of fun, right? But other people who don't actually have this studied, try to give me some answers. Like, what is fun in a game? What makes a game fun?
Reward.
Uncertainty.
Uncertainty. Hmm.
I said reward.
Progress.
Reward. Someone said uncertainty. Someone said rewards. Immersiveness. It must involve probability. In other words, a lot of permutations. Uncertainty, in short. If it involves probability, that is uncertainty, right? More answers,
Different
guys?
emotions
Um,
that it gives.
Reward and punishment system. Mm.
Reward and punishment
If
system.
there is a yeah.
Hmm. So first of all,
Overcome over Yeah,
yes, 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 sir.
overcoming a challenge, like there is a, for instance, there are levels which are difficult and we are trying many times, but once when we are able to achieve that, we are able to overcome that level, overcoming a challenging situation, basically.
So remember, guys, when I asked at the start of the session what is a game, people gave different answers, but all of them were respectable answers that made sense, right? And now, when I have asked what makes a game fun, people have again given different answers, but all of them are very respectable answers, which make sense in their own way, right? We are going to come to this very soon. This is why I'm discussing this. What is fun is very subjective. If you enjoy a film, doesn't mean the other person will also enjoy the film. If other person enjoys a song, doesn't mean you will also enjoy the song. Same for food, same for games, right? If you enjoy a game doesn't mean the other person will also enjoy that. So there's a word called subjective. Art, same for art, right? If I talk about the Mona Lisa, everyone knows Mona Lisa, right? The painting, the famous painting. For some people, it's a masterpiece, the greatest painting ever made. For other people like me, it's just a human's face, you know. And both are valid opinions. Both are very, very valid opinions. You cannot say you are wrong or you are wrong because, sorry, art is subjective. And similarly, fun is also subjective. What is fun for someone might not be fun for someone else. So we divide fun into four psychology based constructs. We divide fun into four psychology based constructs. So if a group of people finds this thing not fun, they will find this thing fun. So those four constructs, I'm sure the students with us can answer. What are the four constructs?
Yes.
Your
Yeah,
voice
no,
is
Aditya, go
breaking.
ahead.
Yeah.
Repeating the question. Can someone repeat the question? I can't hear. That's why.
The question is what makes a game fun? What are the things that makes a game fun? Or not just a game, any activity,
Okay.
any physical game as well.
Yeah, Rajat, go ahead. You were answering, right?
Oh, yeah, sure. It's luck, skill, the adrenaline rush that you get, called vertigo, and role-playing aspects of a game.
Correct, correct. So these terms, they were coined a lot of years back for from the like what we call the forefathers of game design, right? When gaming was really new or digital gaming was really new, the first books which were published upon the topic of game design, they coined these terms. Luck is what makes a game fun for some people. For other people, skill is what makes a game fun. For other people, vertigo. But I don't like to call it vertigo. I like to call it thrill, right? Because these definitions which we are stuck with, they are like decades old. And now gaming has changed, and the type of games we play, they have changed a lot. So I like to call it thrill rather than vertigo. And the last one, which is role play, if I have to classify it better, I like to call it immersion. Immersion, right? So these are the four things that makes a game very, very fun. One is luck, one is skill, other is thrill, and the other is immersion. And if I'm going to go into detail for these four types of psychologies, luck is basically gambling based games, right? Games like again Ludo for example, not Ludo, Snakes and Ladder would be a better example because Ludo is luck based. It is based on the die roll, but you have some decision power. The die rolls, but you get to decide which pawn to move, right? It's not like it's fully luck based. You have some control over it. So I would say Ludo is 75% luck based, 25% skill based, right? That is what I would say. But if you talk about Snakes and Ladders or flipping a coin, 100% luck based, right? So luck based games are games basically which have a lot of risk, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of probability, and they are the games which are like enjoyed by gambler type of mindset people who have a gambler type of mindset, you know. Now, to us, it might look like it's purely luck. To us, it might look like purely gambling mindset. But that's not what really goes on inside the mind of a gambler. If you ever speak to a person, or if you know any person who is very good at those card games, you know, rummy or those type of games, they're not gambling purely. If they're good at it, if they're actually good at it, they're not purely like based on luck. They are doing mathematics. They're calculating the probability. Okay, these four cards have showed up and I'm holding these four cards. What is the probability that this card is inside the deck? What is the probability that my opponent is holding a certain card? So for us, externally, it might look like this is luck-based approach. It's not really a luck-based approach. It's actually a mathematical probability-based approach. Does that make sense? So luck-based games, they are enjoyed by people who are very good at logic, very good at probability, who understand and enjoy mathematics a lot. People with a gambler mindset, you know, but not purely gambler mindset कि भाई सट्टा लगा दिया. No, they're actually doing the mathematical calculations. It's not purely luck based. It is sort of a skill. It's disguised as luck, but it's actually another skill which is probability based and mathematics based. Unless there is some people who are like, "Nay, I'm not good at math. I'm just randomly gambling." Those people also exist. Okay, not saying no to that. But this makes certain games fun for certain people, and this also explains why we have so many gambling addicts, so many lottery people addict. Like people play lotteries, people play games like Jungli Rummy, people play games like Dream 11, people play games which are gacha games. So even if there's a game which is skill based, there can be a luck system involved into it. Gacha, which means pulling for characters, right? You do a wish, there's not a guarantee that you might receive a 5-star character, you might receive a 1-star character, right? So that is a luck based approach. Second is the thrill based approach. Thrill based approach is games which basically give you a lot of adrenaline rush, as you mentioned, right? Games which are racing games. If you're racing, you get that like high, you get that hype, you get that high when you're racing. If you're in a very intense combat game, fighting, punching, blood is coming, blood is boiling, basically that feeling. There's one game called Only Up. Do you know Only Up? So in that game, you're supposed to keep on climbing and climbing, and there's this construct that keeps going upwards, and if you look down, you get scared. So thrill based games are basically the games which give you an adrenaline rush. Horror games also fall into this category. Horror games will also fall into the thrill category, right? So some people might find the gambling or luck based games fun. Other people might find the thrill based games fun. What is the third category is the skill based games, right? Now a skill based game is something which is the more time you invest into developing that skill, the better you get, right? Example of skill based game, someone would like to give an example of skill based game.
Most physical games, cricket, football, wrestling, whatever you want to call it, hide
Chess.
and seek.
Chess.
Chess,
Chess.
yeah, physical
Yes,
games,
yes.
yes, yes. A few more guys.
Multiplayer shooter game.
Multiplayer shooting games, yes, exactly. Let's also give a few examples. Why not? Why don't you guys give me a few example of gambling games or luck based games, and a few examples of thrill based games, and a few example of skill based games. And you can also tell me like that, like Ludo, for example, 75% luck based, 25% skill based. If you have like some game which falls into multiple categories, that also you can do.
So I played a game. I don't remember the name. I It had a bit of element of Angry Birds involved in it, but it also had a skill element. Like you pull a kind of a catapult kind of a thing, and then you launch a projectile, and it goes and hits some thing. So it was very engaging in the sense that the more you played it, the better you got at releasing this projectile. So there was an element of skill as well as luck, like where does it land, and then which element gets hit by which element, and all those things. So I really liked that game. Unfortunately, I'm not able to recall the name of that game.
Yeah, but we are able to imagine based on how you described. It sounds like 75% skill, 25% luck, but I'm
Yeah,
just making
yeah, yeah.
random guesses right now. Cannot tell for
Yes,
sure
I'll
until
look.
we play the game.
I'll
I
type
guess
in the
it
name.
was
I'll
a
just
3D game. 3D game, I guess.
Not really. It was a 2D game. It was somebody had
Oh,
developed it in this engine called G Develop. So it was fully made in that, and I'll just look up the name and I'll type it in the chat.
I thought Catapult King.
Okay, so do we have any more people who have examples like thrill-based games and
So I
luck-based
think
games? Mm-hmm.
the endless runner, that kind of genre, like Subway Surf and Temple, I think it's a combination of there is a thrill because there is an adrenaline because you are continuously engaged into that. And there is also skill because as you play it, you get kind of better, and there is also a sort of
Mm-hmm.
luck element because we do not know what is going, whether it's an enemy or a collectible. Or so I think it's a combination of these three.
Amazing. Yeah, correct. That's absolutely correct. So last category, which I call immersion, which the other people like to call it role play, but I like to call it immersion, right? So these are the types of games which basically you're not playing it for the thrill, You're not playing it for gambling or luck element, right? You're not playing because the game is very skill heavy. You're playing it because you are liking the story, you're liking the environment, you're liking the setting, right? You're experiencing the story, you're experiencing the environment, right? So that is what we call an immersion based gameplay or immersion based game. Basically, you're living in another life. People call it role play because you're basically living another life, playing as some other protagonist, playing as some other character in a story based game, right? I'm sure you guys can give me examples of some immersion based games, right?
Like sir mentioned, Fake Hitler was is one of the game like in which you are part of. There are two parties: the socialist and the communists. And another game is there is a card game called as Love Letter, in which you are due. There is basically a princess and there is a prince, and you have to find out ki where is the basically the princess, and each player has action and a role to play. So yeah, those are the few examples that came into my mind.
Okay, so I'm sure you guys understand that most of the games do not fit into one particular category. They're going to be a fusion. Okay, like 75% luck, 25% skill, 10% thrill. Okay, it's going to be a ratio, it's going to be a pie chart. So, this is the first activity or the first sort of mini assignment for you. Okay, you have to list down like top five of your games. They could be sports, they could be board games, and they could be digital games. List down top five of yours and try to make a pie chart. Try to make a pie chart. Like this percent of this, the fun in this game comes from thrill. This percentage of fun comes from skill. This percentage of fun comes from immersion, right? Storytelling or the world. And this percent of fun comes from the thrill of it. So the four: skill, luck, thrill, and immersion, right? Take your favorite top five favorite games and make a pie chart of that. Okay. So this is your like very small mini activity which you have to do. I think we are approaching the 1 hour mark, right? Okay, let's move forward. Let's move forward. Okay, I'll also
Uh,
refer to my. Mhm.
just one more. Yeah, like I think.
Is my camera stuck? Yeah, please continue.
Yeah,
Please continue.
there was this game that I played called Cuphead. Have you guys heard about it?
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So
Cuphead is
there
amazing.
wasn't
Yeah.
like apart from like skill and luck, there was this also additional element of like enjoying the artwork involved with it. Like it had this very interesting art, classic cartoon style, which they had worked very diligently upon. So one element was also that you are like playing it, but also enjoying that artwork which is there. So can we put that as a immersion?
I think it gave us sort of a nostalgia, since like back when you were kids, we used to watch the Disney and all that stuff, Mickey Mouse. So watching that art style kind of puts us back
Yes.
in our time. Right?
So I'm really quickly going to refer to my notes because I've listed down examples of different actual like digital games and board games which fall under each category over here. So again, board game examples for thrill based games. I'm sure you guys know Jenga. Jenga, right? You build a tower and then you pull out blocks. And every time someone pulls out a block, there's a risk that the entire tower might fall. Correct? So that is a board game example which is purely thrill based, right? Not purely thrill, I would say skill plus
Also
thrill
skill
based.
based, yeah.
Yeah, skill plus thrill based. But yeah, the main fun of that comes from the thrill, that the tower might fall anytime. That thrill keeps Jenga fun. There's a game called Werewolf. Do you know Werewolf, guys? It's a
Yes.
group activity type of
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
People might know it as Chor
mafia,
Sipahi.
mafia,
Mafia,
chor
yeah.
sipahi.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
names for this game, yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
So in this particular game, certain people are the bad guys and certain people are the good guys, but no one really knows, right? And now the group has to make a decision of who to kill. So this is that type of game. It's also very very thrill based. You could say it's somewhat luck based also, but the main fun of this game comes from the thrill of who's going to die next. If I give you video game examples, PUBG, the last circle, when you're surviving in PUBG, it's a very thrilling moment. And even when you land, if you end up landing in a crowded zone, you have to get a gun fast, otherwise you're dead. So that is an example of a thrill-based game. Then Resident Evil is an example of thrill-based games, and any boss fights, a lot of boss fights in a lot of games are examples of thrill-based gameplay. If I
There
look
is a
at the
2D
list.
multiplayer game.
Hmm.
Yeah, there is a 2D multiplayer game, Silent Castle.
Okay,
That's also a thrill-based game.
I'll have to check it out. You can please list that in the chat box also.
Yes,
Then I
sure.
guess Souls-like games would also be thrill-based, right? To a
Thrill
certain
plus
extent.
skill, but the skill dominates over the thrill, I would say, for Souls
Yeah.
like. Yeah. So if you look at luck-based board games, Ludo is very heavily luck-based, but not completely luck-based. Snakes and Ladders, fully luck-based. Monopoly also quite heavily luck-based, but not fully luck-based. And Catan, also like somewhat luck-based, not fully. Video game examples of luck based game, there's not really most of the video games are not fully luck based, but they have certain element or certain system which involves luck. For example, games like Genshin Impact or games like FIFA, the entire gameplay part is not luck based, but how you acquire new character, how you acquire more loot, that part is luck based, right? So for example, pulling for 5-star characters in Genshin Impact, pulling for character cards in FIFA. Then obviously games like Hearthstone, games like if you played games like Hearthstone, if you played Magic the Gathering, if you played Legends of Runeterra, these are card battling games, not traditional like card rummy type of games. These are card monster, card battle type of games. They rely a lot on luck as well. Skill based game का board game example would be very simple, like the favorite example everyone likes to give, chess is the sort of most solid example of skill based board game. Have you guys heard about or played code names?
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes.
How many people? Two,
Yep.
only two? Okay, what I'll do is within one of these workshops, we'll play code names because it's a very short game as well. I think we can finish it within 15 minutes. We'll play that. The code names is an example of sort of skill based or teamwork based co-op board game. And if we talk about video games which are skill based, again, a lot of shooter games, the shooting mechanic, the aiming mechanic, it's obviously a skill which you develop over time, right? If I talk about games like Genshin Impact, which are not aiming based, learning how to do various elemental reactions or the systems, using the systems in the game to your benefit, that requires a set amount of skill. Obviously, Souls like games, someone talked about Souls like games, they are very, very heavily skill based. You have to memorize and understand the boss's attacking patterns. You have to focus on your own, whatever you are doing, building your character, using your character and their abilities, right? And immersion based, if I look at the list of immersion based board games, the most solid example, I think Ati Akshit can tell for us. Yeah, Akshit.
Akshat,
Uh,
a bit of
both
a pro
skill
level.
based.
Other people come in first.
Sorry.
Sorry. Come
Akshat is
again,
like a
Rajat.
pro level board gamer. Let him go
Yeah.
last. If other people have things to say, we can go before that.
Sure. So
Yeah,
yeah, you go last, Akshit. You go last. We need
sure,
to be fair
Uh,
with
sure.
everyone.
As long as I get a turn.
Dungeons and Dragons. That
That that
Dungeons
is
and
that is
Dragons.
exactly the answer I was looking. That is exactly dot the answer I was looking for. Dungeons and Dragons is the sort of you know symbol of immersion based gameplay, or when you're talking in the context of board and tabletop games, right? A lot of people, I'm sure most of people here know about Dungeons and Dragons, but still I'm going to pretend there's someone who doesn't know. It is basically a game where there are a certain of set rules, but you have the freedom to break those rules, and you cannot play the game just by following the rules. You have to be a storyteller. The game happens inside of your mind, so it is very free flowing, that type of game. I am actually working on that, building that type of game myself, which is taking a lot of time and effort. But yes, Dungeons and Dragons is an example of purely immersion based uh, tabletop game. Some more examples would be Sherlock, a detective game, Gloomhaven, Zombicide. And if we talk about video game examples, any story based game such as The Witcher, such as mm, have you played Hogwarts Legacy? If you played Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, if you played
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed, God of War, any game which is like purely story driven, mostly story driven, the combat is there, the fighting is there, but that's not why you're playing it really. You're playing it for the world, the culture, the NPCs, right? You're basically experiencing a new life, a second world. So that is immersion based games examples. I hope I'm not frying anyone's brains. Do you want me to keep going, or like do you need a break?
Please keep going.
Keep going? That doesn't sound very strong and confident, man.
Oh, no, no, no.
Okay.
I mean, just keep
Okay.
going. I still had my food, so probably.
So, we have discussed what makes a game fun. And again, if you make a game which is purely thrill based, your audience is small. If you make a game which is purely luck based, your audience is small. So most of the times you sort of do a fusion, right? कि इतना इतना skill based रखूँगा, इतना इतना luck based रखूँगा, so that I can capture multiple audiences. But again, if you try to balance all four, it's tricky. Balancing all four can be very tricky. So balance two or three according to your comfort and the amount of time you're willing to dedicate. And the more things you try to balance, the more harder it's going to be. But you cannot also isolate it. So you have to find that balance. Okay, and this is something that I do with my students. I've had 12 plus board games which are like publisher ready, very very polished and publisher ready, which I have had my students create. So team of 3 to 5 people, they have created this board game, and we have play tested, and we've changed the rules, then we play tested again, then we changed the rules again, the standard procedure for making a board game, right? And until a point that the games were publisher ready, we had 12 of those. And what really made them special is I asked the group to make a game that encapsulates their own personality. For example, I had this one guy, quite shy, doesn't really speak much, remains very like like silent and serious, So for him, sorry, I'm getting a call, and because of that, my camera is getting stuck. Sorry about that. Let me just fix my camera again.
Anybody here played Citizen Sleeper?
I have it on my to-do list. Like it's 2 games down.
Yeah, and it's amazing. I mean, I think out of the four, psychology constructs that we've discussed so far, I
Mhm.
think this game encapsulates at least three of them, right? Luck, because it has a dice rolling mechanic, so luck is
Yeah.
there. Some sort of skill is required to understanding the mechanics, understanding the consequences, the advantage of rolling a bad die or a good die, and of course, immersion is definitely there because I would consider it a CRPG, if anything else. Yeah.
That's a
Tony, could
board
you
game.
just mention that in the chat? I could not hear the name of it.
Yeah, sure. I'll do
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Guys,
That's a
there
board
is.
game.
Yeah, go ahead. Guys, like, can you hear me properly? Because a lot of kids are screaming in my area, in my society. I'm hoping like you're not getting disturbed too much, right? Or like
No,
is the
we can hear
noise
you
too
clearly.
much? You can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
cool, cool, cool. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
as I was
I think
saying,
the
yeah, please go ahead.
so I just wanted to share something interesting. When we talk about luck in games, there's a lot of bad rap to it. Tends to be like this game is too luck based. Um, like luck itself gets a bad rap, but if we think of any game as purely skill based, I think it'll stop being fun. Um, more often than not, like that replayability that randomness adds, people don't realize it sometimes or value it. Even games like Dota or shooters tend to have some sort of RNG to it that we don't even realize so many times, and that adds
I
the fun to it.
I would sort of slightly disagree with you, but not
Okay.
completely. Not completely, because games like chess, I don't think like chess needs any randomness. I think it is perfect, and I think there are certain games which are perfect without the involvement of luck, because there's the expectation. If I'm playing a game like Valorant, if I'm playing a game like chess, I want like the rules to be absolute. I want to rely completely on my skill. I want to test my skill against my opponent's skill. No luck involved. I want to test my pure skill against my opponent's pure skill. No chance, no luck
On the
involved.
on the
On the
contrary, I would say that there is some element of luck involved in chess because your opponent making a mistake could be something that can be interpreted as luck. Like they overlooking something, they getting distracted, they kind
But
of
we would amount that to human error. We would not amount that to the game system committing something.
okay, okay,
We would
got
amount
it, got
that
it.
to a human error at the end. So
Makes
similarly
sense.
again.
I meant most games. I meant most games. Because again, like if you play something like Dota or even
So I'll
shooters, they might have some sort of randomness in the
have you
map
played
layout.
have you played couch co-op type of games like or Fall Guys हो गया, Spookaboo हो गया. You're doing co-op with your team and you're having fun with your team. You're not there to express your skill. So in that type of games, I think luck really makes a lot of fun, adds a lot of replayability. So this is true for those sort
Yeah.
of games, but not for all sort of games. That's why I partially agreed with you.
Yep.
So coming back to what I was talking about, there was a group of students, and the lead in that group, the guy, he was sort of silent and serious type of guy. And the group was really debating what type of board game they want to create. And this is what I told all of the students: like, create a game that encapsulates your own persona. So this group, I had him create a sort of detective game. I didn't even give them the idea. I just gave them an idea. Okay, this is your personality. This is the type of games and the films you enjoy. This is the vibe, and create something in this vibe. And he ended up creating a board game which is sort of inside a horror mansion. Atish sir has seen that game as well and reviewed that. Inside a horror mansion, there's like 4 5 rooms, and you have to sort of go from tile to tile and collect some clues. And there's a murder, and one of the 4 players is the murderer, and you have to find it out. So that type of game. And then there was another student who was sort of very comedic, very funny, dark jokes, dark humor type of comic type of guy. So I told him, why not create a game? So he came to me with a game idea, and the idea was sort of not bad. Idea was not bad, but didn't have the spark, didn't have that yes ho jayega ye wala factor. So I was like, why don't you like capture your own persona, encapsulate your own persona in this? And that was a zombie game which he was creating. One person is a zombie, and other 4 people are running away from the zombie, and he has to capture and bite and turn all the people. And these 3 people, these 3 humans, they have to find a way to escape before he captures them. So that was the premise of the game. And I was like, the premise is fine, the gameplay is fine, the systems you introduce, they're all fine, but there's no X factor into this. So it's like, put your persona into this. You're sort of this dark comic type of dark joke मारने वाला comic type का बंदा जो हमेशा joke मारता रहता है. So it's like, okay, let's try. And then we introduce a lot of comedic things into that game. So basically, there's grandma's dentures is a trap. So we replace the bear trap and we put grandma's dentures over there. We created a, so there was a meme back in the day that women pick bears over men. You know that meme, no? I would rather like meet a bear in the forest rather than a man. So we put a
Yeah.
zombie. We put a zombie bear inside of the game, and this zombie bear will not attack the female players. So, and then again, if some person is bitten by a zombie, they lose their leg. We added a wheelchair card. So if you have the wheelchair card, you can still move even if you don't have legs. So we added a lot of sort of comedic things inside that game, a lot of comedic cards, which were sort of which changed the whole vibe of the game. And the premise was good. The premise was good. The gameplay was good. One person is a zombie, other three are trying to escape him or defeat him. But then once we added this comedic cards and the humor inside of the game, it had the X factor. Then it elevated the game beyond what it was initially. So that is something I want you to sort of keep in mind when you're planning this exercise ahead. We have already discussed the four types of psychology, which makes a game fun. We'll also discuss the four types of player. There's also four types of player psychology. So this was what is fun inside of a game, but now we're talking about four types of player psychology. So the four types of players are: one is the achiever, right? Second is the killer. Third is the explorer, and the fourth is the socialist. Achiever, killer, explorer, and socialist. So the achiever is someone who likes skill based games. This is the person who is like, okay, I'm going to improve my aim. I'm going to come to this game daily, practice in the range, practice my aim, and get my skill up. I'm going to learn chess. I'm going to learn all the opening moves in chess, and I'm going to develop a certain amount of skill. So achiever is the person, he wants to learn all the things that the game has to offer and master it. We'll call him the achiever. So he really, really enjoys the skill based games, right? Then we have the killer. So this person, he's like, I don't want to use my brain. I don't want to like grind daily, come daily, and practice daily in the game. I get one day off. My entire week is stressful. I have one day. I want to come and kill. I'm not going to put the time daily to develop my skill. I'm not going to put the time to master all the rules of the game. I want to relax, man. I had a stressful job. I want to come home. I want to kill some people and done, right? So that's the killer. He doesn't necessarily care too much about the rules or mastering the rules. He just wants that thrill. He likes the thrill based gameplay. You can match the following. Four types of fun, four types of player. You can match the following very easily. Explorer. Explorer is a person who doesn't care about being better than others. So remember this thing about the achiever. The achiever is very, very competitive. He wants to be better than anyone else. Explorer, he wants to explore everything that the game has to offer. He's a collector. I'll collect all the cards. I'll explore the entire map. I'll explore the entire map. I'll explore the entire story. If an NPC has 5 dialogue options, I'll talk to all of them. I'll see all the 5 dialogue options, right? I'll explore the entire story, explore the entire map, explore all the things the game has to offer. I'm basically escaping my reality and living into this new one. This is the explorer. He doesn't really care about, being better than others like the achiever, or, mastering the game like the achiever, or defeating others like the killer. And lastly, there's the socialist. So this socialist is the most interesting person for us because we're discussing board games currently. Socialist is the person who actually doesn't really care that much about the game. He cares about the group he's with. Okay, I am with a group of my friends slash family. I want to have a good time with them. And the game is something which is a medium for that. The game, it could be a game, it could be a movie. I'm with my group of friends and I'm enjoying. I want something fun to do with my group of friends or family. That's a socialist, right? Obviously, you can match the following, right? 4 types of fun, 4 types of player. Like, how would you match them? How would you match the 4? स्टार्टिंग के दो तो मैंने ही खुद मैच कर दिए आपके लिए. Achiever skill based and killer thrill based, right?
Explorer
So,
emotion.
Yeah, please, I'm listening.
Yeah, Explorer, I would map it with the immersion, I think. And Socialist would also be
Socialist doesn't really
immersion.
fall into any of
Yeah.
those particular categories. They are more that of social type of people. Yes. Can you give me examples of games?
Killer,
Yeah, please go ahead. You're asking something.
killer should be motivo, I guess. Like
Yeah,
Okay, like
vertigo,
in the
vertigo.
vertical.
You call it vertigo, I call it
Yeah,
thrill, because I found that terminology
yeah,
to
yeah.
be more accurate, you know. And again, like people call it role play, but I call it immersion because that terminology for me is more accurate and covers a lot
Mm,
more. Because role play, when we talk
yeah.
about role play, people get slightly confused. People think that we're only talking about role playing games, but no,
Mm,
it also includes games without any story. Let's say there's a game, there's zero story, but you have to explore this map. There's a lot of different artifacts or puzzles hidden, right? That would still be an immersion based game, but there's no dialogue, so people would assume it's not a role play based game. So that is why immersion is a better terminology to use than role play, in my opinion. Okay, so could you give me examples of games which achievers would enjoy, killers would enjoy, explorers would enjoy, and then lastly socializers would enjoy?
For achievers, I would say competitive first-person shooters are the easiest example. Valorant, CS, or that sort of thing.
Sort like games
final
where there's like
for
a high
everything.
skill ceiling and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely,
Batman
but
Arkham.
also, uh, can we stray away a little bit from FPS games because FPS games will dominate the examples. Then,
Right.
have
Yes.
Yeah.
you?
Any game that
Do you know
has
Batman
about?
Arkham series. Batman Arkham series.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
We have to collect Riddler trophy, or we have to
Souls
hit some
likes.
enemies.
Then
Yeah, for killer there
roguelike
would be
have
any
done.
hack and slash games.
hack and slash games, absolutely. If you
Yeah,
Yeah,
played
for
Like
games
killer.
like Mortal Kombat, if you played games like
Yeah,
um, 2XKO
Injustice 2.
recently, Injustice, yeah.
Left
Yeah.
4 Dead is nice for hack and
Mm-hmm.
slash. Left 4 Dead 2.
World War Z, anyone? World War Z? No?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any game that has speedrun capabilities, achievers would like to get their time as short as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So in that way, Hades would be a good example for achievers, I guess.
Yeah. I'm still trying to
Yeah.
beat
Yeah.
my best time.
Okay.
are there any
So,
good examples of board games for explorer personalities?
Explorer,
Probably
I'll. Akshat could tell
Akshat
us. Yeah.
could elaborate.
Firstly, Dungeons and Dragons. That's crazy. I mean, it's really amazing. Most people have heard of it. They have an idea about it. They have not gotten into it. If you try D&D, it is an amazing world. Find yourself a dungeon master. But some of these games have started integrating, like some of our regular board games. Interestingly, just as a cash grab or to create that world, also have started making these games into role playing games. Like there's this very famous game called Terraforming Mars. There's one called Root. They're really popular best selling games, and they've started creating role playing games out of that world now from just a tabletop strategy game.
Okay, so I
There is
have
one
this list. I
games
haven't played
like
all of them, but the list says there's Sherlock Holmes detective game, Arkham horror board game, then Keyforge and Scythe. These are like four explorer based board games, but I haven't played them, so I can't really say much.
There's also a game known as City. It is about extra. It is a board game in which you have 3D printed components, and you can basically explore the. Basically, there's a win at the end, but you can also explore the space and the places. And and you have to win in multiple regards to actually win. It is a highly complex board game actually.
Oh, I have an interesting example for you guys. This game is called Chronicles of Crime. So it's a detective game, but it's augmented by AR. Like you scan stuff and you suddenly are in the room and you move around your phone and you see look out into the room by rotating your phone and you spot clues and then you try to navigate and go to locations and talk to people. Very interesting game for you guys to see.
Also, Afiyat, in your experience of education, do you find that achiever type of people end up making games for achievers or something like, or they can mix match like?
Absolutely, you can mix match, but it is better if you sort of do something related to what you're comfortable with, at least for the first few projects. At least for the first project. Like once you get experience with like you've done this once, twice, thrice, then you can stray away. But when you're like fresh to it, I recommend sticking close to your own like what you're comfortable with, the way your brain works, the way your thinking works.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So guys, I want to take this moment, sort of we'll take a little bit of break from theory now. I have a lot more things I really want to tell you guys, but I don't want to overload you with anything. So next thing which we're going to discuss, theory mein, is we're going to discuss this tomorrow, is what are game mechanics and game systems and gameplay modes. And once you have that knowledge, you will be ready to start creating your own board game, right? For today, what I want you guys to do is after this session is over, like I want you guys to form teams of like 2 to 3 people. Okay. So uh, you want to know everyone's schedule, because outside of this class you have to collaborate with your team for 2 to 3 hours, sometimes even more than 3 hours per day. You have to collaborate with each other. So ask each other's schedules, ask each other's skill sets, right? And form teams of 2 to 3 people. You will require one person in the team at least who is comfortable with Photoshop or AI art, because if you're creating the board, you will have to create a little bit of artwork, not too polished, not like very production level, but you'll have to create a little bit of artwork. So you'll need someone who knows a little bit of Photoshop or AI art generation, okay, in the team at least. So this team building, you can do it later after this call. I'll give you time for that as well. And the further theory part, which we are going to discuss, we're going to discuss it tomorrow mostly. I'll take a moment, I'll talk about my own game design courses, right? I've been, as you guys already know, I've been teaching game art and game design for almost 4+ years now. And I've been practicing it professionally since 2019 and not professionally practicing it since before 2016. So my game design course is 12 modules. It's 1 year long and 2 year long. We have two modes. 1 year long, we teach you all the theory stuff and we do a small game project. And the second year is sort of, the theory part is already been covered in the first year, right? Most of the theory part is already covered in the first year. And a small game project is also made in the first year. Second year is sort of practical. So the students join as interns in my own studio and they work on actual digital games which we are producing in house, and the client projects which we are providing services for. The students work for that. So basically, the second year, you could say, it is industry experience. So when you walk out, you're not a student anymore. You're not looking. The first job is the most difficult to find, right? The first job is the most difficult to find. So that is not the struggle, because if you go after the second year, you already have that experience of 1 year working in the industry environment. And also, apart from this internship, which is in the second year, there's also a bigger game project. First year's game project is around 2-3 months, but the second year's game project is a big one, around like 7-8 months, which is a full production level game. And as I mentioned, the entire theory part is covered along with the smaller practicals in the first year. So this currently, this series of workshop series of lectures which we are doing is the module 1, which is board game design. And the reason, as you guys already know, is, let's say I'm a game designer. I have an idea for a game, right? And I'm very confident about this idea that this is going to be a big game. This is going to be a good game. I have a brilliant idea. This is going to be a good game. People are going to love it. But until I actually play it, until we play test it, we will not know for sure whether it's a good idea or not, right? Only after play testing, it is confirmed. Okay, is this actually fun though? How many people are finding it fun? Is it just me, right? Or maybe I just thought it would be good on paper, but in reality, it's not fun. So we need to playtest that. And in order to playtest the game, what do we need? We need programming expertise. We need to learn programming for 2 years, or we need to pay a programmer or find a programmer. And the programmer will work his ass off for like 4, 5, 6 months before he has a prototype, right? So if I have an idea, in order for me to make sure after playtesting that this idea is worth something, I need to spend at least 5 to 6 hours and have a programmer on board. So it's a very long, crucial, and risky process for game designers. You cannot keep designing, I'm designing this idea, that idea, and like without knowing if it is actually good. If I'm not testing, if I'm keeping on designing without testing, then I will not grow as a designer. So how do we do that? We do that via board games, right? Because board games do not require any programming skill. Board games do not require for you to wait for 5 months to turn your idea into a prototype before you can test. No, you can just start testing it right away. You can take a board, draw a sketch of a map, take some pawns, take a dice or something, and you can just start testing your game right there. And if you want to change a rule, you don't have to code for 30 days again. You can change the rule instantly and play test again. So this is how you refine your game design process. So currently we are discussing board game design, but don't think that we are inside that bubble. No. A lot of people registered for this workshop, but when they read that we are only discussing board games, not actual digital games, they backed away. Okay, this is board game only, this is board game. I want to learn real game. But actually, this is the foundation for real game. I'm not thinking that I'm teaching these guys board game design. I'm thinking I'm teaching you real game design, but we are testing that through board games. I'm teaching you real game design thinking, but we are testing that through board games because we can test instantly in that manner, right? So this is sort of the foundation, or this is the first module of our 12 module game design course, which is a short version which we're doing right now. I'm not going to put any more theory onto you today. Theory part will continue tomorrow. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you a board game which was created by a student. And this is a very bad, very poor example of a game. So usually when students design a board game, that is how it is. The first version they come up with is very raw, unfiltered, very bad. And then I slowly guide them. Okay, this is something you can change. This is something you can improve, right? So I will share my screen with you guys, and I will show you this game which was designed by a student. And we will sort of do a very quick play session, 10-15 minute play session. And you guys will be able to see all the flaws inside the game and what not to do. And I will also tell you how this student, how I helped him to manage to improve this game, and refine this game. So let's do that. Yeah, I think this should be fine. So this is Miro. Are you guys aware about Miro?
Yeah.
It is something of a game design tool which I use. It's not really a game design tool, it's a mind mapping tool. A lot of people back in the day used to rely on Google Docs and some other softwares like that for game design. I also used to use Google Docs only in the initial days, but now I find it very useful to have a visual tool because it's very easy to communicate the game design to the teammates, right? Which we are working with when it's visual rather than just text only. So it's very similar to Figma if you're comfortable with Figma. This is Miro. I'll show you a very quick layout. This is the select tool. You can pan around. This is the template tool. You can select the template if you want to select any. You can add stickies and add notes onto the stickies. You can use T for text tool and you can type stuff and change the font and outline and highlight things and create shapes. You can draw sketches and erase them. Very quick, very simple layout. So this is what we use for board game design. So let's say I just took this shape over here. I just created a square. I filled a color inside the square and I selected the outline color. And that is how I create this box. And then I created series of boxes to create this board. You can see, right? Everyone can see it, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So this was the initial version of the board game which the student had submitted. So the idea is this is angry emoji is player 1, freezing emoji is player 2, cat emoji is player 3, and alien emoji is player 4. These are the 4 players and they have to reach the center. Whoever reaches the center purple tiles first, that is the win condition. So this is the board layout. It is a 4-person against each other, all against each other type of game. And the objective is reaching the center. And there's separate elements which you can use. So if I step on the fire tile, I get the fire element. If I step on A grass tile, I get grass. Electricity, I get electricity, right? If I step on a tile, I get that element. And if I'm next to another player, I can use my element cards to attack them, and they can use their element cards to counter my attack, right? And obviously, if I do a fire attack and they counter with a water, I take damage, right? If I do a earth attack and they counter with electricity, they take damage. So it's sort of like that. I'm sure it's pretty simple to understand, right? I asked the student to be a little more creative rather than the standard grid or tile system which is used, the standard movement system with the dice which is used, the standard mechanics which are used inside of a gameplay. I asked them to be as creative as they could. And the student's response to that would be that we will have random movement. This game is completely skill based because you have to rush to the center and you have these elements and you get to choose which elements to use. It's not random. You get to choose which elements to use. The game is skill based. So he wanted to add a little bit of luck factor, you know. But the way he decided to add the luck factor was very, very wrong. So he decided to randomize movement. So you roll a d6 dice, six-sided dice. If it is 1, then you go left, 2, then you go right, 3, then you go front, 4 back, and if you land 5 or 6, then you move to the tile of your choice. So basically, your dice roll determines your movement. Your movement is randomized, like 80% of your movement is randomized, 60-80% of your movement is randomized. Only 5-6 lets you move as you wish. So if we do a really quick play test of this, you know, I'll pull up a d6 dice. I'll pull up a d6 dice and here we have it. And I'll roll this dice. I want everyone to pretend to be a character. Someone take the red guy, someone take the freezing guy, someone take the cat, and someone take the alien. Really quick.
I can take the alien.
Okay, really quick, guys. Like, we want to finish it
I can
fast.
take the cat.
Cat. I would take the
Alien.
cat.
Then I'll take the freeze.
Alien as well.
Okay, so the angry one. Who is the angry one again?
I can take the angry one.
Okay, so I'll roll for you. Okay, I'll roll for you. Roll for the angry one. Land on 4. 4 basically means you have to move back, but there's no back for you. There's only forward and right. Okay, so basically you don't get to move. Okay, the freezing one.
I can be freezing one.
Yeah, I'll roll for you now. The freezing one. Roll for 1. You get to move left. Okay. The cat, I'll roll for the cat now. Again, roll for 1, you get to move left. And then I'll roll for the alien. Roll for 2, which means right. Okay, you get to move right. So after one round of this might feel a little bit unnatural to you already, right? The movement feels a little bit of unnatural. It is random. But okay, we have the control over cards. What do you think?
It's extremely slow. A lot of players would not be able to move for, like, say, maybe 4 or 5 turns. They would just be sitting at their home bases the whole time.
But it is similar for Ludo as well. It is similar for Ludo as well, right? You don't get out of the house until you roll a 6, right? In Ludo.
What are these
Yes, but it is
circumstances
more
of
unfair.
player engagement? Like when can they attack each other? Is it
They
when they are next to each other or?
Yes, they can attack when they're next to each other.
It can be felt more unfair.
Mm-hmm.
This game can be unfair in the
Game
most of
can
the
be
time.
unfair. Game can be unfair most of the time. That's absolutely correct. So we'll do 2 or 3 more rounds. We won't play the entire game. We'll do like 3 or 4 rounds, and you'll get the idea of what is wrong in this. What is really, really wrong in this. I'll roll for red once again. 1, and 1 allows you to go left again, which means you don't get to move. Sorry, red guy. Freezing guy. 4, which means back. but there's no back for you, so no movement. The cat 4, which means back, you get to move here. The alien 1, which is left, you go back to the starting place. So now it's a little bit irritating, right?
Yeah.
At this point, it's irritating, and you can imagine for the players how frustrating this might be. And what happens? Let's do very quickly few more rounds. 2 for the red one, which moves right. Then 2 for the blue one. Again, move right. Blue one is back in the house, guys. Then 4 for the cat, which means back again, which means she goes up. And 2 for the alien, which again moves right. So we've been through 4 cycles, 4 turns of the game, and no one has made any real progress apart from the cat. If you wanted to introduce luck to the game, there were much better ways to introduce that. But making movement luck based was the most unnatural thing that this player could have done. Let me tell you what happens after we play the game for 30 minutes. Because the first time this player brought this game, we played it for 15 minutes. So currently we've done only 2-3 rounds, but we actually played it for 15 minutes. And what kept on happening was this guy, mostly like you go back and forth. You go back, either you don't move at all, or even if you move, you go back and forth in the same place. You collect a few cards, but no one even attempts to get close to this space. So forget about fighting with each other and getting close to each other. No one even reaches this center space until, you can say, turn number 40 or 50. So it's like completely unnatural, completely unintuitive. So what we do, we note down all the problems. All the people who were involved in playing this game, they make a list of everything which feels unnatural, everything which feels annoying as a player. Okay? We have to be brutally honest. We have to note down all the player feedback. So this is the randomized. So I didn't write this. This was written by the other students which played this game, right? The randomized movements make the players go back and forth in the same spot, being extremely frustrating and extending the play session. Players never come into contact, never leading to a duel or use of elemental powers. What did we change? Change the randomized movement to d4 dice free movement. So now we will roll a d4 dice, not a d6 dice. Because if we roll a d6 dice, the map, like players will reach center very fast, right? It's not a very big map. D6 or 6-sided dice will give us a lot of movement and the game will be over very, very fast. So we keep it a D4, a 4-sided die. Change the randomized movement to D4 free movement. Game ended faster on doing this, but it felt much better. Less frustrating than random movement. Players still rarely come into contact, and players aim straight for the center. Combat elements are still unused, right? So this was the feedback. So they noticed a problem, solved that problem, and then immediately moved on to working on another problem, right? So the movement was problematic. We fixed the movement somewhat. We haven't refined it, but we fixed it for now. And the next problem we notice is that players are heading straight for the center, never fighting. Elemental powers are not being used, players are not coming in contact. They're like going straight for the center and the game ends. Like it's basically a race to the center, nothing else. Basically, who rolls higher, right? So here you have the board. Here you have all the rules of the gameplay. Like this is how the movement will be. This is how many lives the player will have. This is out of the element system. And this is the gameplay sequence. So these are the rules of the games. These are the boards. Here you have the feedback of the players, negative feedback. And then you have what you changed or what changes you made based on the feedback that you have over here. So this is what your exercise is going to look like. You're going to create a team. You're going to plan what type of board game you want to make. It can be a card game. It can be a board game. It can be sort of tabletop open game like D&D, it can be 2v2, 2 versus 2 type of game. It can be 4 versus 4 type of game. It can be like chess 1v1. You get to decide it's a card game or a board game or both, right? Pawns or cards. You get to decide what type of complexity you have to go for. Gameplay session is restricted. The gameplay must not last more than 20 minutes. That is the only condition which I'm giving you. Your game should not be very big. If someone sits to play the final game after it is polished, the gameplay should not last more than 25 to 30 minutes max. Ideally 20 minutes, maximum 25 to 30 minutes, right? So let's look at the another version of this game now. Now we've solved a few problems. We've created these red tiles which are like bricks or walls. Now the player cannot go straight towards the center because of the tiles, right? Player has to go around the tiles. They cannot straight go for the center. Another thing we changed is we removed the diagonal movement. Player cannot move diagonally anymore. So like let's say if a player was moving diagonally, they would just move like this and reach the center, right? Diagonally is quite easy. So we removed diagonal movement. Now the player can only move straight, left, right, straight, left, right, straight, but he cannot move in cross diagonals. So we changed one thing, diagonal movement, and we added bricks or walls. And the intention was for players to contact each other and fight rather than run straight towards the center. That was the intention. The bricks helped a little bit. The diagonal movement also helped a little bit, but not completely. Players were still running for the center. Yeah. We played it a few times. Now we decided to add an objective to the game. I think I have this over here. Okay, that's on another board, unfortunately. We added an objective to the game, which was a star. Currently, it's not there on the board. Let me just add it really quickly. I'll go to the emojis. Let's search for star. Yeah. So this is a star, or you can call it a key, okay? So now we added these keys over here, 4 keys in 4 different points of the map. And now the players, if they reach the center, they don't win. They have to collect at least 2 keys to win. You need 2 keys to win, okay? So now the players cannot run directly for the center. Players have to run and they have to go towards the key. Maybe 2 players end up coming for the same key and they are going to come in contact and they are going to fight, right? And even if like they go for opposites, they're still going to fight over here because there's total of 4 keys, which means 2 players can enter, 2 players cannot enter. So if you did not manage to get the ample amount of keys, it's on you to chase another player now rather than chasing the center. So now this game becomes sort of like a competition. Now there's some combat. People are fighting each other because they want keys from each other, right? If I have the keys, someone else wants my keys. And if I don't have the keys, I want someone else's keys. In either scenario, I'm willing for a fight. I'm in for a fight, right? So that is how we stopped this game from being a race to the center. Okay. Another thing which we changed is the elements. Previously, you could only use the elements when you were next to each other, right? In a combat situation. But now we changed the elements completely. Now the elements can work from a range. They can be basically ranged attacks. So fire, if you have a fire card, you can throw a fireball and you can burn certain tiles. So let's say if I have a fireball, let's say this freezing player is going to reach the center, right? I can burn these tiles. You know. And if I burn these 3 tiles, the freezing player cannot basically enter over here. Correct? Then nature you can use a nature element to heal yourself for 10 health. Water, you can push an enemy randomly for 2 tiles. Earth, you can create walls or barricades. So basically fire can also sort of create barricades, but you can go through fire, you just take damage. Earth, barricades, you cannot go through them. Electricity zaps for fire damage, and stops one movement, one turn for the other player. And wind push an enemy to a tile of your choice within its range, right? And death tiles basically deal damage to you. So at this point, the game improved a lot better. Now we have. Do we have time? No, we don't have much time. Tomorrow, when we do this session, we will actually play this game in its final version. Okay, how it was after it was refined. It will take us 15 minutes to play that until someone wins, and you will see that it's a much more better experience, right? When we have refined the movement, we have refined the combat, we have refined the objective. The objective is not reaching the center anymore, it is collecting the stars and then reaching the center, right? And we'll do that playtest tomorrow, and I'll also talk about the game mechanics and gameplay systems tomorrow, which will help you design your own board game. So we have exactly 10 minutes left in this workshop. I want you guys to take this time to talk to each other and start planning on forming teams, or what type of vision you have. If you're going to create a board game, I'm planning a card game, card battle game, I'm planning a 2v2 game. So sort of, if you have any plans like that, or you would like to team up, I bring like Photoshop skills, I bring art skills, I bring game design skills. So just have a talk with each other. And again, if you have any doubts or anything you'd like to ask me, please go ahead.
Hello, can four people can be in one team or it's max to three?
It's up to you. I'm not putting any restrictions, but I just want everyone should be able to find a team. कोई भी बचना नहीं चाहिए कि यार मेरे को किसी ने लिया नहीं. Yeah.
Okay.
And you know what? The more people there are in a team, you think more work will happen, but that's not true. Because everyone is like, इतने लोग हैं, कोई ना कोई कर ही लेगा. You know? That sort of becomes the attitude, because a lot of people are out there, someone will do it. I don't have to.
So I think we have like 16 people here on this in this session cohort. Like if we divide it like four in each team, or I don't know. And also I think there are some there are a couple of students who are already studying some game design or something like that. So I would really expect that they should be split into those teams. They should not form a team together, so that other guys can kind of capitalize on their expertise that they have in game design so far.
I think these three guys are like, हम लोग साथ में करेंगे बोल के इन्होंने join किया. But
Oh, अच्छा.
Akshit and the other ma'am, Premlata ma'am shayad, they have played a lot of board games, so I absolutely don't want them to be on the same team. If you guys share your vision, you know, what type of board game you're planning, and what type of thrill based, luck based, what type of player you'd like to cater to, achievers, you know, or explorers, you can team up with some people who have a similar mindset. And while team building, try to keep this in mind, that you need one person who knows Photoshop or AI art a little bit. And obviously, as I mentioned, the winning team will be given, one or two winning teams will be given board game table at GamingCon 2025. So GamingCon 2025 is an event which is happening in Nesco Center Mumbai. And there's a board game space over there, and sort of we've been given the ownership of that, because I was at that event last year. I was taking a seminar on education, game dev education in India. I made a few friends with the organizers, and they've been very kind to give us board game space with 4 tables. 2 of those tables have been occupied by my college students' board game projects. I still have 2 tables remaining, which is the whole reason actually I'm doing this workshop, you know.
I do have an idea for a game. It is, well, I was just thinking broad. I have played Catan and Dune very recently, actually. So I was thinking on making a game which is catered towards achievers, I guess you can say, and it's more towards like a strategy game. But for me, it was more based on military tactics than the like for Catan it's more like your civilization building and stuff. So for me, what I was thinking was either you have like a team, let's say either 1v1, or you have 2 or 3 players together and it's a team versus team game, and you have an objective. Now I haven't decided on an objective yet, but maybe it might be transport or might be something or something else. And your goal is to strategize among your teammates, position your limited troops. One team has to maybe block the objective, and one team has to make sure your objective reaches the goal. That's something that I have just imagined.
So again, the four types of fun elements in the game, we have learned that. Four types of players, we have learned that. Apart from that, a certain vibe or a certain theme, like zombie, sci-fi, fantasy. If you have something like that in mind, parody, comedy, horror, and then obviously the nature of the gameplay, like 2v2 or co-op, that sort of thing, you guys can discuss. And not just right now, not just right now, this entire VC is open. If you guys form teams, if you guys coordinate timings with each other, feel free to join the VCs, or even connect personally if that works for you, whatever works for you. But start planning it, start planning it. Any other ideas? No, guys? Akshit, Premlata ma'am, do you guys have any?
So, personally, I have a lot of experience with a lot of board games. I'm able to easily see design issues with them, but I'm just sharing my own thoughts here. My issue is the creative process of getting some sort of prompts. Otherwise, you can go in any directions. So, if you're sitting with someone, then creative juices start flowing. Uh, that is where I get stuck when creating a game. So, I think it's about finding the right wavelength, right? That's how we go forward.
For that, everyone has to talk. No one is speaking up.
Yeah.
Everyone is listening mode. If you don't talk, you won't know personalities of each other, and strengths and weaknesses of each other. And then how will you decide what
Brainstorming.
teammates to choose?
For now, right
Absolutely.
now, I am like just being silent because like I'm brainstorming some ideas so we can like pitch in and find
You
the
know
right
what? I have a very
people
good
to.
idea. I have a very good idea to sort of do a team building sort of thingy. But it will
Yeah,
take
sure.
quite a bit
Go
of
ahead.
time, and we've already finished 2 hours. Are you guys comfortable if we do an activity for which is going to take 15 to 20 minutes? Is everyone comfortable?
Sure.
Yes, for everyone.
Yeah, sure, I guess.
We are going
Yeah.
to we are going to
Yeah.
do one game of code names right now. Yes.
Oh, yes, please.
Yes, that is
Yes,
right.
please.
I had a feeling that was coming.
Yes, yes. We're going to do one game of code names, and I'm hoping the conversation will sort of open up everyone to each other, because today, if we are able to form teams today, from moving forward from tomorrow will be very smooth. The sooner we form the teams, the better it's going to be.
Right.
Who here has not played code names?
I have not.